Welcome to another edition of Faculty Spotlight. We're going to talk to Tekuani Perez. Mr. Perez is the director of the Computer and Sciences Technology Department and the Cybersecurity Institute. Did I get all that right, Tekuani?
Pretty close, yeah.
Good. I'm a little intimidated by this conversation because you're going to have to kind of dumb down some of the technical stuff for me. But really, I want to get your story, how you got into the industry, how you got here to Laredo College, and so forth. So first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you come to Laredo College? Where did you get your start in computers?
How far back?
Let's go. When do you remember first having a love for computers, I guess?
I actually was, I'm not originally from Laredo.
Okay.
From California, and then we moved to Arizona. And Arizona, back in the early 90s, was the first time we encountered computers. And it was the best thing, right?
How old were you?
7, 8.
7?
Yeah. So this is back in like the early 90s. Super.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So what was going on in the computer world at that time?
I have no idea.
You don't
So I was a kid, so it was the first time they had brought computers to school that we were at. So we got introduced to them, so we were engaging with them, and so I just wanted to spend as much time as I could on them.
Yeah.
And then we eventually moved to Laredo in '94, so I've been here since then.
Now, when you say we, you mean your family?
Yeah.
So you all were originally from California?
Well, my father was originally from Laredo.
Oh, okay.
And then he moved around all over the place.
Gotcha.
Met my mother, and then obviously they had a whole bunch of kids, and then they eventually.
So you were one of them.
Yeah.
So, but then from California, you went to Arizona, then you landed up here in Laredo. So your dad's from Laredo? Then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're a child, 7, you said, maybe?
7, yeah.
And you get introduced to the world of computers in school, right? You said?
Yeah.
And what were your first thoughts? Like, what was it about it that made it so appealing, I guess?
It was, so obviously there were video games or ways that they were using for things for us to learn. So I thought it was very fascinating. At the time, I think they were Macs. And so there were a lot of computer graphics, so it was very engaging, and it was just amazing, right? You would see people type and like, oh, that's super cool. My mother ran a translating company, and so she would have typewriters and word processors. And so when we were young, we were always bagging on those. But now it was super cool because we could type on stuff and we wouldn't get yelled at.
Yeah.
Because we weren't ruining the typewriter or ruining the whiteout that she had to do. So that was a lot of fun, and it was very engaging. And then the other thing that we had seen was the big old black screens, the DOS. Right?
Oh, okay.
People were typing on DOS. So we had seen most people using that, and then we had seen the graphical interface, and it was just amazing.
But what were they using for storage at that time? Were those big floppy?
The big old floppies. Yeah,
kind of looked like Were they bigger than the CD, more or less?
The old ones were like that big.
Okay, yeah.
And then eventually they became the ones that we were pretty familiar with.
And do you ever take a moment and look back at how ridiculous that was compared to today? I mean,
well, so in our classes we always cover that.
Sure.
So we take a trip back, and most of the kids freak out when we start talking about how old technology was, how it used to be run on tapes, how the floppies used to be massive, and then we talk about storage and how everyone's complaining, oh, well, I only have 128 gigs on my phone, I need more. And we're like, no, back then we were using kilobytes, megabytes, you would store super small files on things.
Yeah.
So
what changes? What changes so that gets smaller with more space? Like what specifically in the computer industry?
So it varies depending on the media. Floppy disks were actually magnetic tape. So there's as technology advances, they're able to store data at smaller points.
Okay.
The evolution of that is obviously they moved from magnetic tape to magnetic disks, and that's how we got the hard drives. The best way to explain that is you remember vinyls? Vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
So a hard drive is just a vinyl. Same concept, right? You have a reed needle that comes onto it and reads the magnetic polarity. The limit to that is how small can you detect a change in polarity. So as technology evolves and we become more precise, we can detect more and more and more.
So I recall seeing the very first computer that was huge, right?
Yeah, they would take up this whole room.
Yeah. What year was that?
60s, 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is something you teach in the classroom.
Yeah.
A lot of kids don't even know what a typewriter is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. So you're 7 years old. You're in Arizona. What what happens from there? Like, what is it? How do you keep getting an interest in computers, I guess?
So, right, the 90s was an interesting time. Probably one of the most influential things that made me want to get into computers was, ironically, the movie Hackers.
Oh, okay.
Right, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so I was like, okay, I want to be that. I didn't know what that was, and then right at the time, there was very little actual programming or that I was aware of.
Right.
Systems that you go and learn. There was nothing in the school. Right, the best thing we had was typewriting class. So that's where I'd spend most of my time learning how to type.
But by that time, you're already in Laredo.
Yeah, in '94.
Yeah.
I think.
What was it, for those who aren't aware, I don't even know that I've seen the whole thing. What was the premise of Hackers?
So Hackers, it's a group of obviously misfits that one of their members finds a worm that's been planted and will actually capsize oil tankers. And so the whole movie's them, the vigilantes try to expose the big evil guys in the movie. And so it involves hacking.
Mm-hmm.
It seems really cool at the time, right?
Yeah.
Now being in computers, I realize how a lot of that was very Hollywoodized, right? So a lot of that isn't real.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
1994, at that point, internet is starting to make its way into the world, right?
Yeah. So internet had been around for a while. I think the internet came to Laredo in '95.
Oh, okay.
So we came before that, and then '95. The internet had been around since before that, right? But I believe it made its way to Laredo in '95. So after we got here in '94, '95, sure enough, school started getting internet. I remember going to class and this was taking us to the library, talking about search engines, how to do research, how to look up books, how to look up different things. So that was amazing.
Did you have a computer at the house?
Eventually, we did. Not initially.
Not right away.
My mother needed them for work. So,
what were your parents' thoughts on your interest in computers?
So, they were good at first until we started getting in trouble with them. And then my mom was like, "Yeah, no, you can't be doing that stuff anymore." So,
I'm afraid to ask how you get in trouble using computers because I have a pretty decent idea of what.
So when we're younger, it's nothing too crazy.
Okay.
Right.
You weren't hacking into the Defense Department or anything?
No,
like that? Okay.
no, we weren't that advanced.
Okay.
Mainly, it was just locking people out of computers because we were curious kids, and so when the computer would boot up, it'd say, "Hey, press this to get into whatever." So we'd press that, and we'd start reading everything. And one of the things that we found when we were very, very young, we found that you could lock a system before it even boots up. It's called a BIOS lock. So if you press like F12 or one of them, they'll take it into the menu, and there's actually a password that you can put in there. And so we put in all the passwords in our computer lab. So we locked out the entire school from labs. And of course, we would leave, and then the next day when we didn't show up, they're like, "What happened?" And someone would say, "Oh, it was Tekuani." And so my mother would get a call, and so we would have to get rushed over there. So, we got in a lot of trouble.
Is this middle school or high school?
Middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do they know that it's you?
Because
you didn't show up the next day?
it was that, and we would unlock it for people. So like when we went with the class or with the teacher, they'd be like, "Hey, what's this?" And we come over and be like, "Oh, you need to just type this in." And they're like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can't tell you."
So seriously, you would lock down a whole computer lab?
Yeah. You just go from computer to computer, just putting in the passwords.
Yeah.
But at the time, obviously, security wasn't a very big thing.
Sure. Did anybody at the time that you can remember kind of pull your parents aside and say, "Hey, this kid has a talent for computers"?
So it was actually in high school. I got sent to there was a conference for I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it was a conference in Austin specifically for computers. And so that was one of the first times that a teacher actually recognized that I enjoyed computers. And they were like, "Yeah, no, we need to send them out there." And so that was the first time that I went to one.
Was it something that I wouldn't say obsessed, but it was something that was really taking a lot of your time, that interest?
I mean, I always enjoyed working with them. I spent the vast majority of my time on computers, right? If it wasn't that, it was music at the time. But ironically, I didn't know that there were computer jobs at the time. I just thought computers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just thought, oh, it's a cool thing that you do. So I actually wanted to be a musician out of high school. So
what kind of musician? What did you play?
Piano.
Oh.
And then I realized that doesn't pay very well.
Well, yeah, but you weren't sure that computers did either. So.
Yeah, I didn't know. So
now, were you in the orchestra or anything? Or?
So I was in band for middle school and high school. So I played saxophone originally, and then I transitioned.
So you did the whole marching band thing and everything? Where'd you go to high school?
Nixon.
Huh. So you were up at 6 o'clock in the morning practicing for marching season and all that stuff?
Not a fan of that.
Yeah. I was going to say, wow, yeah, that was, when did you realize, wait a minute, computers could be my career?
Ironically, in 2012.
Really? That's pretty far off.
Yeah. So I had a pretty rough spot. So after I graduated, I went, to university for music, and then realized kind of that's not where I wanted to go with my life. And then so I dropped out of university and started working for like 8-10 years. And then just one day I'm like, yeah, no, I'm tired of working in this warehouse in this hot weather, getting hurt and everything. And so I was actually driving, and I heard a advertisement on the radio about Laredo College. They were doing it was one of their fall registration. And so I was like, okay, I need a life change, so I'm gonna head that way. And so I drove in and I registered. I remember we were over in the gym. I remember walking in, and they're like, what do you want to get advice for? And I'm like, I have no idea. And so they just rattled off a bunch of stuff, and they're like, well, cybersecurity. And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me do that.
What was your expertise level at that time?
Pretty minimal. I knew enough to be dangerous, but not enough.
But so you actually did go to school to do music, decided that wasn't the deal you wanted. Then you were working and you were out in the workforce, 8 to 10 years, you said? It's a long time.
Yeah.
And you decided, all right, this is enough of this.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty full circle moment that you came to Laredo College to start that career in computers, and now here you are as a director.
Yeah, I know. It's been a wild ride since I got here.
How often do you reflect on that? Do you ever get to stop and say, wow, that's pretty cool?
Yeah, I mean, that's usually something. I reflect on it pretty often because we do have some students that are very lost, right? They'll come in and be like, I don't know what I want to do. And some of them are older, some of them are coming back. And, we'll be talking to them like, yeah, I know, I've been there, right? I've been there where, you have a moment in your life where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Is this the right choice? And then, you come back to school, and usually school, specifically Laredo College, really helps you kind of realign where you want to go.
So the students that come into the program, they have a little interest in computers? Do they already have some knowledge? Like, what brings them here?
So we have a mix, right? So we have our kind of traditional students, which are fresh out of high school. Ironically, very little technical knowledge. I don't know if that's because the high school isn't emphasizing stuff or just what's happening at the high school. So a lot of them don't have some of the knowledge that we think is normal. Like we've had students that don't know how to right click. So I'll say, oh, just right click and, select this on whatever menu. And they'll be like, how do I right click?
I find that hard to believe.
Well, so that's what I thought too. I was like, are you really? And they're like, yeah, I don't know what right click is. And what I realized is Chromebooks don't have a right click.
Oh, and that's what they're all using in school.
So they're growing up with knowledge bases on a Chromebook system, which is not what they're going to encounter in the workforce. So it makes it interesting.
Is it the computer knowledge that they have? Is it more about just how to use the computer, pretty much?
So they're more consumer-based knowledge, where they're just consuming the content and not necessarily working with the system as an administrator or a more advanced user.
And then, of course, nowadays, everything's on the phone. They're used to just using their phone for everything, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that kind of minimizes their exposure to actual desktop, laptop, whatever the case. What was your first computer that you owned?
We owned did I own? I bought a Gateway.
Your family.
Yeah, so we bought Gateways at the time, right?
Okay.
So they were obviously the ones.
Gateway was a brand.
The Gateway brand, yeah. So we bought those. So those were kind of the ones. It was either Dell or Gateway. Those were the big ones.
What was the one that you remember was yours, your very first?
So actually, I still have that computer. I actually built it.
Okay.
So I built it that was one of the first things that I wanted to do, because I was like, I can't be in IT if I don't know how to put together a computer.
Yeah.
So I went through the process and figured it out and put one together. And I still have that at home.
Does it work?
I mean, it turns on. It's not.
Is it something that you can still expand on, or no? It's pretty much.
Well, it's pretty obsolete. So we ended up building it at this point, it's probably 10 years old.
Were the gateways, were those all in one systems, or?
Yeah. So they're all in one. They would come with the monitor, big old CTR.
But you could still upgrade those computers.
Yeah, so you can swap out components.
Because there was a true all-in-one, which is like you couldn't really increase the storage or anything like that.
Those are most of the modern ones now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So most of the modern ones actually solder on the components.
Oh.
So there's a whole, I don't know how political we want to get, but there's a whole right to repair movement specifically with computers, because a lot of manufacturers are making it more difficult for users to repair or replace components on their system.
But as quickly as computers become obsolete, I mean, why would you do that? Why would you create a computer that's only going to be, never mind.
Because then you got to buy a new one.
Exactly. It's kind of like, why does your cell phone only last like 2 years, right?
Then you gotta buy
that
a new
kind of
one.
thing. I got it. So do you recommend that somebody build their own computer then?
So yeah, it's I'm of the mindset that you should know what you're working with.
Yeah.
Right? You should at least have a fundamental understanding of the components that you have, because if something goes wrong, you can potentially repair it. Right? You can replace components or you can upgrade things. You don't necessarily have to be an expert on it, but
Right.
you should have some knowledge.
So you came back to Laredo College here in 2012, you said?
Yeah.
Where did you go from there?
So from there, I graduated in 2 years after that, so about 2014, 2015. Then I went to go work at UISD.
Okay.
So I got my entry-level help desk job there, and eventually I got a promotion to the network department.
Did this require a bachelor's or you were on an
So I
associate?
was an associate.
Okay.
So the entry-level help desk job at UISD at the time, I don't know if it's changed, was associate.
Okay.
And so they also required that you, ironically, they had a what do they call it? A skills test.
Okay.
So there was a computer with a whole bunch of problems, and there was a list of things
that's cool.
they're like, get it working and then do these things. So you had to physically repair it
Yeah.
and then do whatever software configurations are required.
Was that difficult for you or you pretty much knew it?
No, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I was glad that I had repaired or I had built my own PC because that helped a lot
Sure.
at the time.
And so you were with IT at UISD,
Mhm.
and then where did you go from there?
So actually from there, a position opened up here at the Cybersecurity Institute as a network administrator. And so former instructors let me know about it. They're like, hey, there's a position opening up if you're interested. So I applied, and at the time I was pursuing my bachelor's degree. And so I had several certifications and workforce experience. And so luckily I got the position, and then I moved back to Laredo College.
What year was that?
2018.
So you've been here for about, what, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
Maybe? That's interesting. It really is a full circle moment. I mean, that's pretty crazy. When did you know that, hey, I might want to teach this in the classroom too?
That was a very interesting experience.
Wasn't in your plans, was it?
It was not.
Yeah.
So I usually have the conversations with, because I don't get to do it as much anymore. So, for example, the other day we had a server that crashed, and so we had to rebuild the whole thing. So that was fun, and I was telling my colleagues that I was working with, I was like, I haven't done this in years.
Uh-huh.
So my passion is still kind of working with servers and working with networks, but I quickly realized that if we don't have people teaching, then we're going to lose the knowledge. Right? Most of the faculty at the time we're getting near retirement age.
Mhm.
And at the time when I came in 2018, there were 14 faculty. Right now, there are 4 faculty other than myself. And 2 of them are near retirement.
Mhm.
So there's a significant demand for people with the knowledge that are required to teach. So I saw it as a giving back to the community, right? So I think it was very important.
You enjoyed being in the classroom?
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It hits a different, I guess, emotional component, right? When you see the students succeed, when you see that aha moment,
Uh-huh.
where you're telling the students and they're bashing their head against the wall, they can't figure it out, and then finally you're like, oh, you missed this component or whatever, or you forgot this, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. and then you see them grow with their skills, right? When they come in, they're super green, they don't know anything, and then by the end of the program, they're competent IT people. So it's satisfying.
Did you ever think you'd be teaching in the classroom?
No, I never thought I was.
Yeah, that was just kind of thrust upon you, huh?
Yeah.
But you've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. It's been a very satisfying.
As director, do you still get to be in the classroom teaching?
As right now, yes, because we don't have a lot
Right.
of faculty members,
Okay.
but eventually that will also be reduced and it'll be more administrative work.
So if you're a doctor, you have to constantly be up to date on the latest. As a computer professional, how do you do that?
So it is attending conferences, right? So going to see what other people are working on, and then you yourself doing research. For example, we try to attend DEF CON, which is a yearly hacker convention in Las Vegas, the largest hacker convention. So we just got back from it this past August, And there's always very interesting conversations that they have there. The latest things that are over there are AI.
Mhm.
So they're looking at AI, how that affects certain things. There'll usually be companies showcasing new technologies. So going there and experiencing those things is a very key component of that.
Is it all about AI now? Is that pretty much taking over?
Well, yeah, it's a big thing right now. Yeah.
Where is it going, do you think?
So I don't know. Eventually, I think we're at a point where it's going to change, right? Eventually, AI is going to mature to the point that it can do the vast majority of things that the tedious jobs no one wants to do.
Mhm.
And then I think at that point, people that can use AI are going to be more employable than the people that can't. I will be honest, I have no idea in what direction it's going to go because I didn't see the boom of AI happening so quickly. I figured maybe 10, 20 years down the line we'll get some cool AI, but I didn't see.
Can you explain it for us exactly what AI is?
So AI is a learning model. So it's a very large coding program, and so you feed this model data, and then it begins to learn on its own. So it'll learn from mistakes. You set certain parameters. So the original AI, some of the things that they did was they would build a skeletal model, and this was before chatbot and all that stuff came around. So it would build a skeletal model and say run, right? And so the AI would fail several times, and then eventually it taught itself how to run.
Oh, great.
And this is of course 3D, right, or graphical, not physical. But so those models are created with specific purposes, and then they're fed data, and they're allowed to iterate as many times as they want. Right? If we think about how humans learn, it's the same thing. So in order for you to learn, you have to do, right? You can't just sit for example, you can't just sit in the classroom and listen to the instructor. You actually have to apply the skill set. And then that repetition builds that skill, and then you're eventually able to apply it. So same with AI, but AI doesn't have hands or anything. So they have to, in a virtual space, do certain things or make certain concepts and then be told whether they did it or didn't do it.
Who pioneered that technology?
I haven't done a bunch of research of that, but there's AI's been around since I want to say the 80s at the very beginning.
So what changed? Why did it become what it is now?
The chat systems. So we've had AI for a long time, but the big thing that kind of exploded was the language models. So now AI can string together a sentence and be coherent. And you kind of almost get tricked into thinking there's a person on the other end, a very smart person, right? Or someone that knows all the answers. And so when you're talking to it or you're typing to it, it responds back in very human-like speech.
Even the assistants, the mobile assistants, I think is what they call it, right? I mean, now Alexa, very capable of carrying on a conversation with you. I'm like, the other day, I don't know what I said, and it started apologizing for something. I'm like, what the heck happened here? Like, I don't remember Alexa doing that. Yeah. And originally, Alexa and those things, Google, Hey Google or whatever, those are all AI, but now they're
more advanced.
Good.
Yeah, the first AI, I don't know if you remember Clippy.
I try to be a helpful and funny guy.
No, the little paperclip.
Yeah.
What was that on?
That was on Microsoft.
Okay, that's AI then.
Yeah, that was AI.
Very cool. There's a lot of people afraid of AI.
Yeah.
Is that justified?
Yeah.
No.
So it's like there's change always causes fear, right?
Sure.
You should accept that it's going to potentially cause problems. People were afraid back when cars started coming around, right? That's something, and then now all we do is drive around in cars. The computer was also a very big, scary time for people, and AI is going to be the same thing, right? It's going to change the landscape, hopefully for the better. Right? There's always a risk that doesn't happen. But hopefully for the better, and as things evolve, we'll eventually learn how to work with it, and it'll become just an everyday part of our life.
Is that something you're teaching in the classroom already, the AI?
We do talk about it, and we do actually encourage our students to use it, because they're going to have to use it out in the work.
Yeah.
Right? If we tell them don't use it, they're still going to use it anyway.
Is it safe to say that, because I like to think, if you're not already using AI in some way, shape, or form, that's not already automatic, because even if you go to a search engine, that's all AI now.
Yeah.
But if you're not using it in other ways, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah, AI will, the saying that everyone's using is that AI will not replace you, but someone who knows how to use AI will replace you.
I've heard it referred to like as a thought partner.
Yes.
And I think that's how I use it, is it really helps me to get through things that maybe have taken me longer to do on my own, just things like that. But there's also that whole mentality of, well, you can't always depend on AI.
Mhm.
So what's that fine line? I mean,
So again, that's kind of my concept. You should always at least have a fundamental knowledge
Sure.
of how something works. AI doesn't know anything that we don't already know. So you can potentially find out the same thing. For example, in my PhD work, I have to, we're doing discrete math, and I haven't taken a math class in like 10 years.
the heck is discrete math?
So it's logic, it's computer math.
Okay.
So it talks about true or false statements and comparing different statements and then figuring out the components and how they work and writing them out in a mathematical formula. It is a nightmare. I remember when I signed up for the first day class, I was like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? But I've been using AI to help me study because there are things that are in the work that are there that I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Sure.
And I'll copy that in and I'll say, hey, what is this asking me? What are these symbols? I don't even know what some of the symbols are. And so it'll explain it. It could be very easy for me to just copy this and say, hey, give me the answer. But then that doesn't help me, right? I just got the answer. Maybe I get the grade, right?
Plus, in a way, you also have to discern as to whether it's actually giving you the right answer and things like that. And that's one thing to always keep in mind. Sure, you can use it, but keep in mind that it could be wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? But I think initially there was a big push to like, oh, you shouldn't be using AI for this, for that. Now it's starting to change, isn't it?
Yeah. At the university I'm at, which is the University of North Dakota, they actually say if you use AI, you have to include it, that it was used as a collaborator.
Mhm.
But AI should never write your paper for you. That's one of the big things that they talk about. They say it's okay to collaborate with it, right? Because especially in an online class, I'm not sitting in the classroom. I can't lean over and talk to my fellow students and say, hey, I'm working on this. Can you help me out? Or what are your thoughts on it, right? So the only person I have is colleagues, which may not be in the class, or AI, which can, I can bounce ideas off and go back and forth.
So you're getting your doctorate now. What do you get a doctorate in exactly?
Computer science.
Okay.
So I was looking for cybersecurity, but I was looking in Texas for a PhD, hopefully in cybersecurity, but all of them require a resident component, so I would have to leave.
That's probably there.
And I don't want to.
So I get that. A fascinating conversation, Tekuani, just because of your knowledge, and of course this is what we're living right now. But let's talk about the programs here. Talk about the programs that Laredo College offers in this field.
Sure. So we have 3 current programs, and we're launching one more program with 2 awards in fall 26. So we have cloud, cybersecurity, and networking are the 3 kind of current programs.
Okay, let me stop you real quick. I'm sorry. What is the difference between cloud and everything else?
So there's a joke in IT that there's no cloud. It's just someone else's computer. And that's generally what the idea is. So a cloud service provider is someone who has a very large data center. Usually they're a very large company that has more resources to spend. And so you pay them usually a subscription or based upon what you use, like a utility, and you utilize their resources. So instead of you having to upfront, it's mainly for businesses, like a server system can cost, $1 million or more, right? And you have that for say 5 years or 10 years, right? So that's about $100,000 worth of equipment per year over a 10-year period. Or you could just pay for what you use at the cloud provider, and usually that reduces the cost. There's not a lot of upfront cost. You only pay for what you use, kind of like electricity or water, and then you don't have to maintain it. So
on a smaller scale, is that similar to like a OneDrive or a Google Drive?
So those are
stuff in the cloud, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Okay, so back you said cloud, networking, and
cybersecurity.
So those are 3 programs that
Those are
are
3 current
here?
programs. Yeah.
Okay, and those are with associate's degrees or certificates? Or what do they offer?
So the cloud is associate and the cyber is associate. The networking one, we're trying to figure it out because that was one of the original degrees. But there's been a decline in kind of demand for it. So we're trying to revamp it. Currently right now, we know that the skill set is still in demand for specific areas, so we do have it as a level 1 certificate. But we're looking at expanding it to an associate in something.
So right now, a student can come in and take classes or get an associate's in one of those 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're expanding the program, aren't you?
Yeah. So we're adding data analytics. We're adding a bachelor's of applied technology in data analytics.
Please explain that to me, because I still don't know what the heck it is.
So data analytics is the goal is being able to predict what is going to happen. There's a saying in kind of data science and physics that if you know all the data about something, you can predict exactly what's going to happen, right? You see it a lot of times in physics where they're like, well, the weight of this, and we throw it at this velocity, we know it's going to land here, right? That's essentially data analytics with some math associated with it.
Right.
So data analytics is the same thing, well, that same concept, but applied to other things. So, for example, in my PhD, we're actually working on some data analytics adjacent stuff. So one of the projects that we're working on is that, let's say there's a car company. That car company sells, or a company that sells car components. They're having declining sales in the year. They're trying to figure out why. Well, data analytics would come in and it would gather all the data points and say, okay, where are all your sales coming from? You know, are they coming from specific states, or are they all the same? Or, you know, do you have certain large markets, certain small markets? Are there specific models that are the ones that people are buying? Are there specific components that are related to the declining sales? And so you would look at that, crunch all that numbers, and then eventually produce.
How is that different from research?
It's
what it
research.
is?
It's research. It's research, but with math, right? So you take all this data and then you produce some sort of visible. The visible component is the important part. You create graphs or things like that, and then you extrapolate concepts that are occurring from that.
And so there's a need for that here?
Yeah, everything is data.
Yes.
So you can use that in everything. So, like, say for example, you're a mom and pop shop that is selling food, right? And you're curious what your best selling item is, right? Because you want to make sure you always have that stock. Well, data analytics could tell you, hey, your whatever plate is the best selling plate, and it's always sold, like, you sell the most of it on a Friday. Monday you don't really sell that much, or you don't sell anything, so probably you should close on Monday, which reduces your overhead that specific day. You should stock this more on Friday so you can offer more to people. Or, hey, this is your specific, like, golden hour we can have it. So if you're hiring people, you should hire them for that time zone, right? So that's what data analytics can do.
So this will be a bachelor's degree in data analytics?
Yes.
And when is that program get started, you said?
Fall 26.
Wow. And I think those who are watching and or listening should know that the college does not undertake anything that they haven't researched. I mean, so if we're going after data analytics bachelor's, that's for a reason. I mean, the state only allows 5 bachelor's programs, so the fact that data analytics is going to be one of them, that's pretty big.
Yeah, so at the time we got asked to go look for one, and so we went out, and this was about 2 years ago. So it's taken us about 2 years to get this to get approved and then eventually to launch. And so we were initially thinking about potentially cybersecurity as one as a bachelor's, but our concern with that is that would only target a very specific market, right? You would have to have come up through the cybersecurity program or anything like that. And so we were like, well, that's not very broad, right? So we were looking for kind of the broadest one that can be applied to the most amount of sectors, and we landed on data analytics. And the research we were doing was that it's becoming very in demand. I think UT launched a program with it just recently.
Wow.
So,
but you do offer cybersecurity here at Laredo College, right?
Yeah, and actually the cybersecurity degree, so if they come in and they get the associate, that will transfer into the BAT, so we'll actually shorten the time there.
So anything that the students may start taking now could potentially transfer to the bachelor?
Mm-hmm.
Anything in the computer sciences field?
Yep.
Wow, that's fascinating. What else falls under the Bachelor's of Data Analytics? Or is it just, I mean, usually there's different tracks, right?
So currently right now we have one track. Okay. We are looking to explore. Yeah. But so AI is a very large component, and actually machine learning and AI modeling is something that's actually also used in data analytics. So there's a component where you can build a model based upon the data that you fed it over years, historical data, and then that model could actually predict certain things that are occurring. We went to a training about a year ago when we were kind of looking into data analytics that was looking at environmental aspects. And so one of the things was it was tracking, it wasn't tracking, but we pulled the data from the Texas rivers and lakes, so how they have the water levels. And so we were actually able to predict what the next year water level would be. And last time I looked at it, we were off by a few points, but we were pretty accurate, right, in the prediction. So
those are exciting things for the college.
Yeah.
I mean, are you excited about this opportunity?
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're building the curriculum right now, so there's a lot of fun activities in there, and hopefully they'll be engaging with students.
Does it take you back to those days when you were 7 and at first? Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I have to work with data and like solve problems, I always get super excited. Like solving problems is this thing that really makes me passionate. So I always get excited. Maybe a couple whoops and yelps about when I figure something out.
Had you stayed in music, what did you want to do?
Oh well, so I don't do.
You were getting a music degree, but you
I was
didn't want to
getting a music.
Did you want to
degree.
teach music? Did you want to play in a band? Have you ever been in a band?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a couple of bands when I was younger. Nothing super cool, You'd get together with friends and
Sure, just jam out.
yeah, play covers. And
Yeah.
whatever, right?
But you didn't know where you were going.
I was completely lost out of high school. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But I was like, music's cool. That's where all the girls are. So,
Yeah, right. It's a remarkable journey that you've had.
it's been fun.
I can imagine. What do you do when you're not into computers? When you're not here on your off time, or is it always about computers?
So currently, right now, I'm working from like 9, 10 in the morning till about 10 at night.
So you have no life.
I have no life, and then I have my PhD. So the free time is spent on that.
Yeah.
But when I'm not doing that, I'm usually spending time with my wife and kids,
Nice.
or hanging out with friends, playing board games and stuff like that. So
Not a lot of time for movies and series and things like that.
I have not watched any of the latest movies unless it's a kid movie that my daughter wanted to see.
Yeah,
So,
been there, done that.
yeah.
What about music? What's your forte?
So yeah, well, I always listen to music. So any kind of rock.
Forte was the wrong word. Like rock genre. I
Yeah,
imagine.
genre.
Yeah, rock, like classic rock or current rock.
I listen to. So I having gone through the music program, I actually have a very good appreciation for all music.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what's on the radio. I usually be able to be like, oh yeah, this is good.
Have you ever thought maybe it's sometime down the road you could do something in music?
Maybe.
No. When do you expect to get your doctorate?
Hopefully in like 3 years.
Wow. So 3 years, Dr. Perez will be running the bachelor's program here at Laredo College. That's a bright future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want a recommendation on a series or movie that is based on what you do that I would find fascinating.
I'm trying to think of one. So have you seen the Mr. Robot? Or
No.
are you aware of the Mr. Robot series?
No.
So Mr. Robot is, I think it was on FX. It's pretty close, at least the first season, to what a dramatized cybersecurity hacker environment is. There's a lot. They actually use a lot of legitimate hacking software and tools and things within there. Yeah.
So I'm guessing that might be like on Hulu then. It was an FX deal.
It may be on
Mr. Robot, how old is it?
maybe about 10 years old at this point.
Huh. Anything more recent, or that's pretty much a go-to thing?
I haven't seen
No,
anything
okay,
recent.
well, that's fine.
So
Well, but in your field, you'd be aware of it. So, Mr. Robot, I'll check that out. What about a movie?
I was going to say Black Hat, but that was not legitimate at all.
Okay. Well, then forget that.
It's a good action movie, but not a good hacking movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, go back however long you want. Hackers, I guess?
Hackers is always a good one.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially a very stylized Hollywood representation.
Okay.
And ironically, the hacker culture loves it because it's just so silly.
What was the one? Oh, never mind. I'm not going to remember. But Tekuani, anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to mention?
I'm trying to think of something. I don't know. I've been talking for a while now.
It doesn't matter. I love talking about this. So is there anything that I didn't ask you that you just want to say something before we wrap up?
I mean, everyone's welcome to come and take some classes. Even if they don't want to get into cybersecurity or cloud or any of those fields.
Like if I wanted to learn more, what would I do?
You can come take classes. So we offer currently right now Introduction to Computer, COC 1301.
Okay.
And so a lot of the technical skills that we need that are out in the workforce, a lot of people either lack or missing. And so we want to make sure that we
So you can come take those classes with no commitment toward any sort of degree or anything like that, just to gain knowledge.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you can do that with the degrees as well. You just come in and say, I'm interested in whatever. You can come and take it.
You're located at the Char Building, right?
Sure.
Where we're at right now.
Fort McIntosh, yep.
All right. Tekuani, it was a pleasure talking to you. I could have done this for like another hour, to be honest with you. But we'll stop it there. Maybe we'll get you back when we launch the. Yeah, you all launch the bachelor program, or where you become Dr. Perez, one of the two.
Yeah.
Thanks for all that you've done for Laredo College. Congratulations and good luck. Continued success.
Thank you.